If you're over 60 and you've been reaching for the same tin of honey-roasted peanuts, the same canister of cocktail nuts, the same bag of roasted almonds you've trusted your entire adult life, this video is for you. Not because nuts are the enemy. They never were. What changed is what gets added to that nut before it's sealed, shelved, and ends up in your hand. Today we are going brand by brand through the snack aisle to show you exactly which nuts are quietly fueling your joint pain, your blood pressure, and your inflammation, and which ones are genuinely working for you. Subscribe and stay with me to the end, because we cover sprouted nuts, which I bet most people have never heard of. Let's pop open that tin. There is a tin that lives in the memory of almost every American over 60. Planters, the red lid, the foil seal. Your dad kept one on the coffee table during football season. They showed up at the bar, at the ballpark, at every holiday gathering for 30 years straight. That tin is still on the shelf today, looks identical. Same logo, same red lid. But pick it up, flip it over, read the ingredient list. Not the front label, not the nutrition panel. The ingredient list at the bottom of the back. On the honey-roasted variety, you will find 3 separate sweetener systems inside a single bag. The word honey appears in the product name, but on the label, it is the 4th ingredient. Corn syrup comes before it. Fructose has its own separate line. That is not a honey-forward recipe. That is a sugar delivery system with honey branding on the outside. Now here is why that matters specifically after 60, and it is not just about calories. When blood sugar spikes, the body releases compounds called cytokines, inflammatory signaling molecules. In a younger system, that inflammatory response resolves within a few hours. After 60, it lingers. It compounds. It does not clear the way it used to. That sustained low-grade inflammation shows up as stiffness when you stand from a chair, resistance in the knees on the stairs, a heaviness in the hands in the morning. Age gets the blame. The snack bowl sitting next to your recliner does not. The nut did not change. The formula underneath the branding did. And your body at 65 keeps the receipt from it in ways it never did at 30. Now let us talk about the second hidden ingredient, the one that is even easier to miss because it is never on the front of the bag. Blue Diamond almonds. The roasted and seasoned varieties are stacked in every grocery store in the country. The almond in its raw state is one of the best foods available to a senior body. High in vitamin E, high in magnesium, genuinely anti-inflammatory. It also roasts beautifully with absolutely nothing added. But the roasted and seasoned Blue Diamond varieties carry canola oil or safflower oil in the coating. These are seed oils, high in omega-6 fatty acids, the pro-inflammatory side of the fat equation. And here is the problem. The almond already carries natural omega-6 on its own. Adding a seed oil coating piles more of the same thing onto a food that needed none of it. Emerald cashews roasted and salted follow the same logic. A dense, nutritious nut coated in a vegetable oil blend before the salt is even applied. A nut that has never needed oil to roast, processed as though it did. Think of inflammation inside the body like a slow burn. After 60, that burn is already running hotter than it was at 40. Your inflammatory baseline is higher, your recovery is slower, and your body has less buffer room than it used to. The omega-6 to omega-3 ratio in your diet directly controls how hot that burn runs. Seed oils push it in the wrong direction. And when a factory coats a perfectly good nut in canola or safflower oil before sealing the bag, it turns a food that should be calming the fire into one that quietly fans it. The nut did not need the oil. It roasts fine without it. That coating exists for shelf life and production cost, not for you. Sugar is not the only way to damage an artery. For seniors already managing blood pressure, sodium does the same job, quieter, slower, and frequently dressed in heart-healthy packaging. The pistachio is a genuinely exceptional food, high in potassium, loaded with antioxidants, one of the lowest calorie nuts per serving. But the wonderful pistachio's standard roasted and salted variety delivers 135 milligrams of sodium per serving through a sodium-heavy brine roasting process. Most people do not eat one measured serving of pistachios, a small bowl while cooking, another handful during a movie, a shared dish at dinner. Before the evening is over, you have consumed more sodium from your heart-healthy snack than a cardiologist would recommend in an entire side dish. For arteries that have been working for 6 decades, that recurring sodium load tightens arterial walls and adds strain to a cardiovascular system already doing the hardest work of its life. Planters cocktail peanuts, the can that sat on every bar counter, every poker table, every Super Bowl spread, arrives with 170 milligrams of sodium per serving, and it is roasted in cottonseed oil. Cottonseed oil is not a food crop oil. It is an industrial byproduct of cotton farming, extraordinarily high in omega-6 linoleic acid with almost no omega-3 to balance it. It has been used in commercial snack production for over a century, primarily because it is cheap and shelf-stable, long before the research existed to understand what it was doing inside aging arterial walls. Fisher Mixed Nuts Deluxe. The premium no peanuts version marketed toward more discerning buyers uses the same cottonseed-containing oil blend underneath its upscale positioning. The label is dressed differently. The oil is not. Before factories started cutting costs, this is how every roasted nut was made. Heat and time. Nothing added. Nothing coated. Dry roasted is not a premium upgrade. It is simply the original version before the seed oil showed up. Blue Diamond Whole Natural Almonds. Sold in the green bag, carry a single ingredient on the label. 1. The almond, nothing applied, nothing added. Available at Target, Walmart, and most major grocery stores. Same brand you already know. A completely different formula underneath. For Whole Foods shoppers, the 365 organic raw almonds and 365 organic dry roasted unsalted almonds answer the same question from a certified organic starting point. Both are single ingredient products. Neither has been touched by seed oil or sodium. Now, go back to the pistachio shelf. The wonderful pistachio's lightly salted no-shell variety is sitting right next to that standard red bag. Reach past it. The sodium is cut in half. The seed oil is gone. The pistachio is identical. That single reach, one shelf position to the left, is the only difference between a pistachio that works for your blood pressure and one that works against it. You are not changing brands. You are changing which version of the same brand you reach for. And that one decision changes what happens inside your body every single time you open that bag. The walnut is the only nut in this entire conversation that carries a meaningful amount of omega-3 fatty acid, the specific anti-inflammatory fat your joints and your brain have been asking for since you turned 60. Think about the bowl of shell-on walnuts at your grandmother's Thanksgiving table. A nutcracker beside it, shells piling up on a dish. Nobody coated them. Nobody processed them. They cracked open and went straight into your hand. That walnut was doing exactly what decades of research has since confirmed: reducing inflammation, supporting arterial function, and feeding the brain compounds it needs to stay sharp with age. The science is not complicated. Walnuts carry ALA, a plant-based omega-3 that works directly against the inflammatory cascade driving joint pain and cognitive decline after 60. Well documented, well researched, not in question. But the walnut has one critical vulnerability the commercial bag never mentions. Walnut oil oxidizes fast, left in a pantry, in a bag folded over with a chip clip. It can go rancid within weeks, and rancid walnut oil does not fight inflammation. it generates it. Most people never catch it because walnuts always taste slightly bitter. A rancid one reads as normal. It is not. Raw walnuts go in the refrigerator, sealed. From the moment they come through the door, that single storage change is the difference between the walnut working for you and working against you. Your grandmother kept them in the shell at room temperature and cracked them fresh. Turns out she had the right idea. 3 options stand above the rest. Terrasol Superfoods Raw Organic Walnuts. 1 ingredient, certified organic. Available at Walmart and Amazon. Fisher Chef's Naturals Walnut Halves and Pieces. 100% California grown, unsalted, American Heart Association certified at most major grocery stores. And Kirkland Signature Walnuts from Costco, independently tested, consistently ranked among the lowest oxidation levels of any major walnut brand, and the best value per ounce of anything on this list. Raw, unsalted, cold. That is the walnut that actually does what walnuts are supposed to do. If nuts stopped agreeing with you somewhere along the way, the bloating, the heaviness, the discomfort that wasn't there at 40, there is a reason. The nuts you have been eating have not been soaked or sprouted. The big brands don't do it because soaking takes time. Time costs money. A soaked and slowly dried nut cannot be produced at the volume or speed of a standard roasted nut. So Planters, Blue Diamond, and Emerald skip this process. Every major commercial brand skips it. And quietly, millions of seniors assume nuts just don't work for them anymore. Every raw nut comes with a built-in defense mechanism. In nature, that mechanism stops the nut from being digested too easily by animals or insects before it has a chance to grow. It works by blocking the digestive enzymes that break food down. In a young, healthy gut, the body powers through it. In a gut over 60, producing fewer digestive enzymes than it did 30 years ago. That defense mechanism wins. The nut sits heavy. The stomach bloats. You feel it for hours. And eventually you just stop eating nuts. That is not your body failing. That is your body being handed a food that was never fully prepared. The solution has existed for thousands of years. Before commercial food production decided that speed and shelf life were the only things that mattered, nuts were soaked in water before eating. That soaking process, what we now call sprouting, neutralizes the digestive blocker entirely. The compound breaks down. The enzymes activate. The nut opens up in a way the raw version never does. Same nutrition, same flavor, actually better flavor, less bitterness. Without the heaviness that drove you away from nuts in the first place, 3 smaller brands do it right. The Sprouted Nut Company out of California produces sprouted almonds, walnuts, and cashews in small batches. Soaked, slowly dried, nothing added, clean label. If you haven't been able to eat nuts comfortably in years, this is where you start. Living Nuts has been operating since 2002, producing a full certified organic range using the same soaking and low-temperature drying process. Available online. Blue Mountain Organics carries their better-than-roasted line. Almonds, walnuts, pecans, hazelnuts, and cashews. All organic, all sprouted, all built around the step the big brands decided wasn't worth taking. None of them are on the standard grocery shelf. But for the senior who quietly gave up on nuts because the body kept saying no, the body was right. It just needed a different preparation. These are it. Before this video ends, do one thing. Go find where your nuts live right now. The tin, the canister, the bag in the pantry, pick it up, flip it over, read the ingredient list. If a seed oil appears after the nut name, the factory made a decision you never agreed to, and your body has been absorbing the cost of it every single time you reached into that bag. If corn syrup and fructose are competing for position near the top of that list, the front label has been doing a very effective job of telling one story while the back label told another. And if raw walnuts are sitting in your pantry at room temperature right now, move them to the refrigerator tonight. The nut did not fail you. It never did. What was done to it before it reached the bag is the only thing that ever needed to change. For your almond, Blue Diamond Whole Natural or 365 Organic. For your pistachio, Wonderful Lightly Salted No Shell. For your walnut, Terrasol, Fisher Chef's Naturals, or Kirkland, Kept Cold. And if digestion has been the barrier, the Sprouted Nut Company or Living Nuts, same snack, different standard. That is how you build a body that is truly built to last. Subscribe and leave us a comment below telling us which nut you eat most and whether you have ever checked what was added to it before you open the bag. Thanks for watching.